Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world-famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
I'm swell. How about yourself, Ozzy?
I'm doing fantastic despite a little bit of pain I experienced about an hour ago. I'll get into that shortly. Also with us, ladies and gentlemen, Flesh Wound producer Todd. How you doing, Todd?
Chilling.
Ruthlessly chilling. All right, so
yes, I forgot. I was doing a different show.
So myself and my fiance just finalized a date for the ceremony. Thank you. And I kind of had my head, because I was getting off the phone with the last person. I just needed to make sure that the date was clear for them because stuff. And my head was kind of inside the door. And when I said, "Oh, so it'll be a Sunday. Can we have a football party after?" And she gave this look, and then she tried to slam the door on me, but it hit my head right here. It and the door bounced back. She couldn't close the door because my head was in the way. And it didn't even hurt. It was just more the shock of, you actually hit me in the head.
So, did you call a 5-yard penalty or?
No, I wasn't wearing a Mahomes jersey. So, yeah. So much for that. All right. And of course, we are recording this on January 26th, and we don't know how the teams are going to play out. I just hope Kansas City loses. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this week
my wife too. So you guys
there we go. Everybody wants the Chiefs to lose. All right, fly Eagles fly. Ladies and gentlemen, this week we do have the pleasure of reviewing and discussing Gremlins 2: The New Batch, which was released on June 15th, 1990, rated PG-13. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Remember the last time we told you not to feed them after midnight? We told you to keep them away from the light. And the most important warning of all, we told you to never, ever get them wet. You didn't listen.
They're mutating.
Sir, is the building on fire?
No, that's a false alarm.
Are you trying to panic New York City?
Absolutely not.
So the monsters are real?
I didn't say that.
Gremlins 2: The New Batch.
Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the trailer for Gremlins 2: The New Batch, again released on June 15th, 1990, rated PG-13, with a runtime of 106 minutes, or an hour and 46 minutes, written by Charlie S. Haas, not the wrestler. Characters by Chris Columbus, and of course directed by Joe Dante, starring Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates, featuring the voices of Howie Mandel as Gizmo, Tony Randall as the Brain Gremlin, and this is a Joe Dante movie, so of course Dick Miller, Robert Picardo have roles. You also have Archie Hahn, Rick Ducommun, and Henry Gibson in the film as well. Initial thoughts on this: I actually watched this one before I watched the original Gremlins, so my perception of what Gremlins should be came from this movie. So I always saw them as a humorous bunch. So it seems to be that anybody who was a fan of the original wasn't too big a fan of this. It seems more common than not. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
I'm saying
it's more common from what I gather from people I talk to who really enjoy the first film, weren't big fans of the second. I mean, going into initial thoughts, that is.
It's kind of like the Ghostbusters 2 thing. I think they're just so different, but still in the same world. And I think it's the same with this. So I kind of get like I don't fall in the hate camp like the Ghostbusters 2 one. For this, like I think it really has a lot to do with Joe Dante, and that he sets the tone from the moment the film begins
with the animation intro.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say you're in a Chuck Jones world. You know that from the get-go.
Speaking of which, Joe Dante got Chuck Jones to come out of retirement to do that animation.
No
to
kidding.
Write and direct that. So I'm sure, like, I mean, the story behind this movie, a lot of people know Joe Dante hated the first Gremlins. Him and Christopher Columbus butted heads on the first movie, and he was initially offered to do a sequel, and he turned it down just because he hated the franchise, and were thrown around such as Gremlins on Mars, Gremlins in New York, like Manhattan, or Gremlins in Vegas, or whatever. Finally, they offered Joe Dante one more time. He asks for double the budget, or it was triple or quadruple, or I think it was double the budget, and complete creative control. They gave him it, and he created a parody of the first movie as a sequel. And
to be fair, I do want this out there. Joe Dante did not hate the film. He hated the experience of Gremlins. There is a difference.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
I just don't want that people out there like, what? Yeah, no. He's actually just because they actually softened his Gremlins too, because it was more of a horror film. He actually just released this past week some never before seen steals from the original Gremlins too.
Oh, wow.
Had some of
the original Gremlins too?
No, the original first Gremlins.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, just so.
Okay.
Just wanted that out there.
Gotcha.
He hated the experience of making it and dealing with
the experience.
And what they did to the film post.
Just made this a complete parody.
Yeah.
Another WB kind of messing up director's relationship, I guess. It's kind of funny that way. So how about your guys' initial thoughts here? I know I went into the history a little bit, but
well, I'm actually with you, Ozzy. I'd seen this before I'd seen the original. And so same thing where when I saw the original, I was like, what? But like at the same time, I was very excited about it. It was a lot of fun. Now, this is probably the first time I've rewatched the sequel after watching the original. And so I definitely have some moments that I thought were fantastic from it, which is actually going to be one of my probably my favorite moment from the film, which I'll talk about a little later.
Okay.
Yeah,
Todd?
It manages to be a parody to the original film and a sequel, which you don't get that often.
It's kind of brilliant.
Yeah. That's kind of what they wanted to do with Jaws 3. Jaws 3 People Zero, the original concept. But yeah, and it's funny because I love the first film. First film, I remembered one of the greatest weekends of my life because on Friday I saw Ghostbusters. Saturday I saw the sneak preview for Gremlins, so I saw them both back to back the same weekend. So I mean, and those are some tentpole, like in the 80s, those are big deals. So, and the tone, like the scary, I mean, I was already into that, so it really worked for me. So this, like, you see the trailer, I love I still love the trailer. I love the way they use the Gremlins music and just kind of bring it up. I think a lot of it, like the creature work is so cool. All the practical stuff. It's just like great to see that all that stuff. I do enjoy it. I don't like it as much as the first film, but I have a great time watching it, and it's just a fun film. It's funny.
It really feels like a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like you said, with the setting of it in the beginning, it's just. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, it just works for what Dante's trying to do. Now, that said, would I have rather had a straight Gremlins? I may have liked that better. I don't know. I'm curious what we're gonna get with the third one, and I'll bring that up at the end. But so, I don't think this is the world we're going to continue in. Unfortunately, I think it's just like one of those times that was just happened.
Uh-huh.
You
We
mean
never-
the animated Gremlins isn't good enough for you?
No, it's funny because this is the kind of picture that you like shouldn't have really happened. Like this is like if we would have got Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, and that's what it would have been just like what.
Mhm.
But I'm sure that's the thing. I'm sure I would have had a blast with that. But this is like one of
Mhm.
those pictures, like I mentioned, Jaws 3, People 0, that like really probably shouldn't have got made or been successful just because it's so out there. But it just worked.
Mhm.
And that is the talent of it, is he
Yeah.
made it work. Like they put this together, and everybody who was a part of it, I mean, as far as these dramatic, like Christopher Lee, just being on board. Like you can tell, like with them reading the script, it was one of these like they're really paying us to make this, and it seemed like more of just a fun time because, like you said, these the practical effects of this were really impressive,
The
and
spider one, like we saw in the trailer,
Yeah.
that one just
like still to this day, it's still, I mean, 30 years later,
35. It's 1990.
yeah, 35 years later, not too bad,
Oh well,
Um,
practicals look better than the effects now. So
right. Well,
I mean,
still,
so
when you look at the animation that was attempted in the movie, uh, so favorite moments here. I mean, there's a lot I have from here, but the one that kept getting me this time around, I'll say, is the line. Actually, this was the first time I really picked it up and really, um, for lack of a better term, acknowledged it. When they are in the laboratory, you have Billy, you have Robert Picardo's character, and you have Dr. Catheter, Christopher Lee's character. And he turns and says, "You don't believe me?" And Picardo's character says, "No, of course," or no, he says, "You think I'm insane?" The response is, "No, of course not, because then we wouldn't be able to sue you." I thought was, I mean, like you have John Glover playing like the Daniel Clamp, Ted Turner hybrid character, so that kind of line really fit. And what's really interesting is I just before you guys can get into your favorite moments, that I thought is the first like 10 minutes with they talk about it's the world's first smart building. In the world we live in now, it's interesting to see. And then the video calls, the automatic lighting, it was just kind of like, if you sit back and just kind of think about it for a second, you never thought like it would be like that, but it's kind of like that now. I mean, we didn't get flying cars, but we got all the stuff that the smart building was providing.
Although I did find out my car that I just recently got, it has a feature where you can press the button and it'll like cruise control, but like adjust the speed to the cars in front of you and will stay in the lane and make turns. And I was just like, this is nuts. Where was this during the years I was drinking?
Right. So how about your guys? Whoever wants to go first.
Todd, go ahead, because mine kind of has a few that are
okay. Well,
involved in it.
Mine actually kind of plays into why we are doing this today on February 10th, because it's in celebration of Lincoln's birthday on February 12th. My favorite scene is, and always will be, the callback to Gremlins 1, where she starts to tell her Lincoln's birthday story about how she was almost abducted. So that's it every time. It poked so much fun at the original, because that like sent people out. Because family movie, and then you have the whole stuck in the chimney thing. So the fact they lampoon it in this one, I love it. Makes me laugh every time.
It has to be referenced. There has to be one of these things in the third movie.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
like it has to happen.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Greg.
So it's kind of, mine's kind of just an overarching like theme that he does with this film, which is just, so like in the beginning, it's talking about where he's, the main character's got his drawing that he does, and they're like, "Oh, add elm trees," and then like later in the film, they're like, "No, take those out." or like the part where they're in the control room and they're talking about, oh, what if the gremlin eats at 11 o'clock but gets something stuck in his teeth? And then you've even got the moment with the review of the movie. And I feel like even before I had known that he had complications with the original film, I felt like this was a director like expressing all of his frustrations with people, just be like, let me have fun with my film and shut up. And so that vibe that he kind of gave off with all these moments, I just was like, good on you. Just like sit back and have fun with the film, you know?
Yeah. So before we go into the reviews, we kind of have a special treat. For those familiar with the film, there is a part in the middle rather, when kind of breaks the fourth wall and the film becomes messed up and the gremlins turn on beach volleyball. Is that did I get that right, Todd? Beach volleyball, was that the name of the
Are we doing the? Are we still? We're talking about the theatrical one first? We should be doing that.
Yes.
I just remember Hulkster standing up. So.
Right. The Hulk Hogan comes in just like now as a kid, that was the version that I saw first. And I saw a different version that included John Wayne, where he just kind of intimidated the gremlins.
I'll explain that. So when the movie came out on home video, they decided, well, it doesn't really make sense for Hulk Hogan, for it to do it. Let's do something special. So they decided to produce a version where your VHS tape is messed up and then it goes to static and the gremlins are in your VCR.
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense. But I remember that when I got the tape, I was like not happy. But then I figured out very quickly that if it aired on cable, they played the theatrical version. So I made sure to record. So I had both versions. If I wanted to watch the Hulkster version,
sure,
or if I wanted to watch the John Wayne version. And yes, the Hulkster version was probably better, but that was the theatrical version, and that's the film person in me. But it was a cool idea, and some people kind of wished they would have continued the gimmick. Well, someone did. And it's only 7 minutes, by the way, Ozzy.
Okay, so, that's fine. I'm excited because I didn't get a chance to see this.
So we're going to show you. We're going to give you our reaction video to. This is a fan-created version of what would have happened on the next home video format, which at the time would have been DVD.
Do you have the creator's name, by the way? We'll get it after.
Yes, I'll check in. Yes, I'll put.
I just want to give credit where credit is due.
I'll put the channel over. Yes, I think it says it when we hit play too.
Excellent.
There we go.
Here we go. Sasha Feiner.
Things that man is not meant to displace.
He is a problem tenant.
Sir, please try and calm
Well.
down. We don't intend to renew the lease. Just tell us where you saw the things.
Don't patronize me, young man. They're real. I saw them.
Never knew you wanted Batman versus Gremlins till today.
Exactly.
Still the best Batmobile.
Yep.
Give me your torch.
Hello, Sheriff. I'm at the Lighthouse Lounge, and I want to report a murder.
Wait a minute. Just hold on here. Is that you again, Lawrence?
Sheriff, look. This time I'm telling you the truth.
Just like that last prank about all those little creatures that multiply when you throw water on them?
Locked one in the fireplace.
God, there was more Batman.
Yes.
Yes.
Batman's not supposed to kill. Worst comic adaptation ever. Yes.
Of course.
And there we are.
Bravo.
That was solid.
Bravo. Sashi Feynman. Fantastic job.
Well played indeed.
So one more thing before we get into the reviews, and this is something that I could lead into the review, is a lot of references are packed in this. Specifically, one that caught my eye and led me to do some research is a shot of the lab titled Splice of Life. Features, as soon as it gets to the lab, you see a brain in a jar, and it's labeled W.H. Donovan. This is in reference to, there was multiple cinematic adaptations, but it was initially a book written in 1942 titled Donovan's Brain, where this brain is kept alive and the person's name is W.H. Donovan. Kind of little details like that. Christopher Lee, Dr. Catheter holding the pod from the Pod People. Always and doing multiple references to other things. But for me, even after watching the original, I don't know if it's still because it's my first experience with Gremlins. Every time I watch it, I'm always entertained from start to finish. So I can't give it anything less than a 5.
I mean, this movie's always been great. I've still enjoyed every bit of it. Holds up. A lot of good laughs, a lot of good story. I have to agree with you with it being a 5.
Todd?
I am actually a little lower, not much, but for me, I love the first one, and that's one of my favorite films. So it's hard for me to put it on par. It's just a little bit below, but that's a little bit of me not getting exactly what I wanted. But it's a 4.5. I mean, it's a great film.
And I think the interesting thing with you is that illustrates that just because you loved the first one and are such a horror fanatic, that you can still enjoy the second one and still think it's good. I think it's just
because it is good. It's not like Ghostbusters.
Well, no, but it's telling. But a lot of people want to
Ghostbusters 2 is still fine.
I mean, it's hilarious to see some of the reviews though of the movie, because they misrepresent it. They talk about stuff happening that never happened in the movie, and it's just kind of, it's interesting why it garnered so much hate.
I think if you're a Joe Dante fan, you'll get it. But if you're just like a Gremlins fan, I think it's a little harder.
That's fair.
I see that.
I'm not huge on the animated show either.
Which, by the way, the actress that portrays Marla Bloodstone actually also it provides her voice in the Gremlin, but not as Marla Bloodstone, but as a different character. I found that interesting. Yeah.
Although I do have to say, there was a bit of an offensive moment in this film where Phoebe Cates went in and went to go get Gizmo, and it was obviously not Gizmo. That is totally Mogwaiist, and I don't appreciate it. They don't all look the same, okay? All right.
Nice. Excellent. Well, unfortunately, at this time, as of January 26th, the film is unavailable on any major streaming platforms. Actually, I think it's available on Fubo and the NBC app that requires subscriptions. Otherwise, available for rent or purchase wherever you are able to purchase your favorite digital content. I'm interested to see, if I were to purchase a version off of Prime or wherever, what version I would get. Obviously,
you're gonna get the Hogan version.
The Hogan, okay.
Mm.
So just a slightly racist version. Okay, got it.
It's funny when it comes on. It's like I kind of want to add booze now.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be in the Orange County area this week, I'll be hosting trivia on Tuesday at the Rush Bar and Grill in Lake Forest, beginning at 7:00. Also in Wednesday at the Brewery in Placentia, beginning at 7:00. Always free to play. Come on out, have some fun. There are prizes available for the winners. Now, before we head out for the evening, do you guys have any news you'd like to share, or anything of the sort?
Check out Flesh Wound Horror live on Wednesday.
All righty. And for world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd, I'm Ozzy V, and we'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.